This is WoW Uncensored, the World of Warcraft show where we talk about whatever the fuck we want. With your hosts, Valentine, Bubba Caleb,
Yeah, I like it.
and DTD. So I got that going for me, which is nice.
Fucking nailed it.
Good evening, faithful. Welcome to another episode of WoW Uncensored, the World of Warcraft show for adults, where we talk about whatever the fuck we want. Allegedly, sometimes. I'm your host, DTD, white trash tank of the guild Nailed It on Rexar US. With me, as always, the GM of the guild Nailed It, the sexiest mage on the planet, and of course, a piece of white trash himself, Valentine. Hi.
What's up? I
Hi.
don't think I'm white trash. I think it was just you.
I don't know. I'd have to rehear that story, I guess.
That's true.
I thought we were all white trash.
No, I think just you were white trash.
Probably. I kind of am trashy. Kind of. No Bubba tonight. He's going through puberty.
Again. For
Again.
the fourth time.
Yeah. No, he lost his voice and has come back, and he actually sounds like he's going through puberty again. It's funny.
He sounds normal to me.
Well, if you hear him for a long time, he sounds really shitty. Like yesterday, he sounded super shitty. Like ridiculously shitty. And today he sounds a little better. But still, it makes me cringe, like, every time he talks. Not because I don't, it's because I love him, really. And I'm white trash. Anyway, we haven't done a show in a while.
No, it's been a couple weeks.
It's been a couple weeks.
Like 2 or 3.
There's been various things that have happened.
Well, I was sick, and then you had some emergency that I actually forgot to ask about.
I had an emergency.
Yeah, you tweeted something about an emergency.
Oh, yeah. So it was about my mom. Like, not health. Like, she's fine health-wise.
Oh, okay.
Like, she was stranded out in the middle of nowhere in a winter storm.
Gotcha.
Like, she was at a bus stop, and our bus stops here, they're not enclosed. It's just a bench out in the fucking open. And she apparently missed the bus after church or work or something. I don't know. So I had to go drive out and save her.
Oh, damn.
In my old ass Mustang that fucking handles terribly in the snow. This is like bad. If there's a dusting, I'm Tokyo drifting everywhere.
I was watching TV, I think, and my phone went off about the notification of the show being canceled, and I was like, "Oh, all right. Guess I'll keep watching Spartacus."
I texted you.
I don't think you did.
I texted you and Bubba same time.
Oh,
Well, no, Bubba was on TeamSpeak with me.
I don't think I got that message.
Huh. Yeah, Velvet, you are kind of a stalker. She remembered before I did. That's okay. Love you anyway. And then last week, like, Val was popping fucking Vicodin like candy.
Yeah,
Which I love Vicodin. Oh my god.
I've never had it before until last week, and then I probably had more than I should have. But for some reason, like Monday, I woke up and I had this terrible pain in my neck, and it like kind of shot down the side of my back.
Ugh.
Anytime I moved my head, and I don't know what it was from. I was like, at first I thought maybe it was just me sleeping on it weird, but then the next day it was just as bad, and then the next day, like it lasted. Like it's still kind of there today, but it's not as bad. So it's lasted like a full week.
I've gotten like to the point where I can't turn my head before. Like if I try to turn my head, I just get agonizing pain down my back. Is it something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had that
But
before.
but it lasted like real strong for like 3 days, and now it's just kind of like just a shadow of what it was.
Wow.
But
That's
it's yeah. But I was at work while I was doing it, or while I felt it. So the lady at work was like, "Has anybody got any fucking aspirin or something?" She's like, "I got some Vicodin." Like a fucking drug dealer, and I was like, "Fuck it, either give it to me, or I'm gonna have to go home or go get something icy hot, or I don't know." Like I mean, most of my job consists of me moving around a lot,
right.
so I had to do something. But well, I only actually took 3
I
in a
remember
2-day period.
I got a prescription for it. The first time I had it was when I messed up my shoulder when I came home. Well, when I was in basic for Marines and I messed up my shoulder, they didn't give me Vicodin. They gave me like Tylenol 4 with codeine, which is strong stuff anyway. And then when I came home, I went and saw my doctor, and they started giving me Vicodin. I may have developed an addiction to it, possibly.
Nice.
Yeah. And then I didn't have it for like a few years, and then I had a wisdom tooth come in or something, and the dentist prescribed me Vicodin again. And I was like, oh yeah. Because it was when I was dealing with all the rough shit with fat bitch slut count whore. So it just made everything better. And her uncle's a doctor, so I would call him up. I'm like, hey, can you refill my Vicodin prescription? Like 6 times. He did every time too. And
Nice.
I'm pretty sure that put an extra year on that marriage. No joke. I mean, it's horrible to say, but I mean, it was a dark time.
Truthful.
Yeah. So I try to stay away from Vicodin now. But there's this dude at work that will like fucking sell Vicodin for $20 a pill. Like, Jesus Christ.
It's actually like, and I didn't know it, but down here it goes for like $6 a pill, which is still a lot.
Yeah.
People will sell it for like $6 a fucking pill, and I'm like, what, really?
That's insane.
But now that we've got the important stuff out of the way,
Totally. We have a couple of emails. From, we have 3 weeks of emails built up, which of course means 2. So
good enough.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's Clefairy!
Ooh, that's my bad.
What'd you do?
I had this my sound's too loud through my headphones, so it set my mic off.
Oh, that's okay. Didn't even notice.
So you might not have, but
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Anyway, this first one comes in from our good friend Daggard. I love that guy. Like, if we ever pug anybody for our main group, he's like choice number 1. It's awesome. Anyway, this is what's up, 3 Musketeers. Past couple weeks, you guys have talked about tool bags leaving your guild with next to no notice, usually taking some fat loot with them when they go. These players have obviously burned their bridges both personally and with your guild, and I was curious why you don't just call these characters out by name. Val always hints at who the people in question are well enough that Bubba and Dee know who he's referring to, but fuck it, why not just call them out by name? I also had a suggestion for dealing with people who are using your guild as a stepping stone and for personal gain. Let their new guild know what type of person they are. You know firsthand that they are only saying what they think you want to hear to get them in the door, and when they app, and what their true motives are. Val has been pissed enough that he tracks these fuckers down on WoW Progress through both server transfers and name changes. Get a hold of an officer or the GM in their new guild and just be like, hey, from one GM to another, this person used our guild and raid team as a stepping stone to gear up, progress, and get into another guild. And I wanted to let you know that's the type of person he or she is. It's always a he, by the way. And that you might want to watch your back when dealing with him. Nothing may ever come of you reaching out to these other guilds and planting that potential seed of doubt, but the anonymity, I can't say that word, fuck it, of the internet and the size of the WoW raiding population is these assholes' biggest enabler. And by trying to get them a reputation as a guild hopper, you increase the chances that their behavior may eventually catch up with them and they get fucked out of a guild they were trying to hop to. I have a lot of respect for what you guys are trying to build and know firsthand how hard it can be to help build and run a guild. So I hope your hard work continues to pay off. From Daggard. We Val's let people know in the guilds that they're transferring to what went down.
Yeah, the only thing though is most of the time people don't really give a shit.
It's true.
Like, I don't know. There's really not that much of accountability. It's like, well, they did that to you guys. It doesn't mean they're gonna do it to us, or we don't give a shit, you know, because it didn't happen to them until it happens to them.
And then they'll be like, "Oh, that guy told us about that."
I've been guilty of that in the past, though.
What guild happened?
No, like somebody warning me about a person, and I'm bad about putting people like on clean slates, you know, like giving everybody a shot at least once.
Oh yeah.
So, I mean, I'm a little bit more skeptical or whatever. Like if I have people coming to me saying, "Hey, this dude fucked us pretty bad," or whatever, then I'm a little bit more skeptical. But I have had people come to me and say somebody's an asshole or, you know, whatever, and normally I just kind of blow it off, and I have in the past. It's not happened recently, but so I can only really imagine, especially when I do find the person, find their name change, find their server transfer, and then talk to the guild leader, and he doesn't like respond to me. Like, you know, that either he's AFK or he just doesn't really give a shit.
Yeah. So it's not like we haven't tried that. We have.
But most of the time, I don't hunt them down to tell their guild leaders about it. I hunt them down to talk to them. Because when they, like, if people leave and they give a heads up, like, it doesn't really, I mean, it hurts a little bit. But the thing that really pisses me off is when people just, you go to invite them for the raid or go to talk to them and they're not in the roster anymore. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like you didn't know anything was wrong. So usually I go try to find out what the fuck happened.
Yeah.
It's usually civil, but I guess half and half. So sometimes sometimes I get a little out of control.
That's true. As far as calling people out, I don't know. It seems
it just depends. Like I do call people out, but sometimes I leave it. Like if it's people that I still have respect for, I usually leave their names out of it.
Yeah. Like, also it draws attention to them, and usually these type of people are like attention whores, and don't really want to enable them.
Yeah, like one of the guys who, I actually kicked out, but he is kind of like that. So yeah. I didn't want to focus any more efforts or didn't want to put any more attention towards it.
Right.
It's not going to change the fact that it happened. So, but I'm not really any stranger to calling people out. I probably should more than I do, especially like in my own guild. But I don't know.
We're all kind of guilty of that, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
in time.
Like Bay says, like a troll, never feed the troll. It's the same thing. Like, there's a lot more shit that happens in the guild that we actually don't talk about just because we don't want to give that person attention. So it's just not feeding the trolls, basically, is what it is.
Yeah.
But thanks for the email, Daggard. We love you. Like, legit. Full homo.
100%.
I'm trying to get, like, fucking chat won't pop up on my thing, and it's pissing me off. I don't know why it's not working.
On your...
On OBS.
Iris?
No, like, I'm trying to get chat to pop up, and it won't.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's kind of pissing me off. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted by chat. Trying to get chat to work.
What's our next one?
Okay, I'll just go ahead and fuck chat. Sorry, guys. We're still reading it. Trust me, we're still reading it. Now, this one comes in from Velvet Dove, who's in our chat room. Hi. She says, hey guys, I have a ton of guild drama type stories, so thought if y'all were bored and wanted to continue last week's rants, which is 3 weeks ago now, about the guild whores, I could maybe contribute. I'll limit my babbling to my WoW run-ins. I like drama when it doesn't involve me. It's fun. Let's see. Where are I? Okay, when my Horde guild died, for the most part, I was semi-looking for people to hang out with. Usually, I just listen to podcasts while I'm playing as a pseudo-leveling buddy. One of the podcasts I listened to, I was in their chat room and commented that I'd never been in a real raid, and they were all, well, why don't you raid with us? Come make a character, which I did and leveled her up at breakneck speed. Still by myself, so no benefit to the guild, and I tried being all outgoing. Hi guys, what's everyone doing? Every time I logged on, and no responses really. Anyways, I burnt myself out rushing to get this girl to max and couldn't raid with them anyways because I was still at work and couldn't log in until they were 2 hours in already. Anyways, I had this 90 lock sitting in the guild for about a year, never touched until I decided, hey, let me try and get all the alliance mounts. So I started playing her again. This time, people were more chatty because it was the end of the expansion and people were bored. So starting hanging out with this one guy, and he started to make characters together. I'm always willing to make characters anywhere or anything. I don't care as long as I have someone to hang out with. So we're hanging out and semi-flirty, goofing off talk. And he's all, how about you send me some nude photos of yourself?
Straight to the point.
Yeah, I gotta fuck around. Her response is, what? Wasn't sure if he was serious or just joking around. So
I sent them.
Yeah. So I responded, sorry, I don't share those anymore. It gives people the wrong idea. And he immediately says, well, I shouldn't be talking to you anyway since I already have a girl I'm chatting with. And you know women get jelly. Okay. I'm bored anyways. I'm going to stop playing this guy and switch to my main. And he dropped group with me. Naturally, I'm
wow.
all... Yeah, wow. Naturally, I'm all pissy because why the fuck group with me if all you want is to try to get news from me? Wasted my time and now tainted the character I was actually having fun playing. So a week goes by of us not really talking, just here and there, and then he proposes this notion of making a guild podcast. I'm not really a member of this guild, not really liking my girl, why pick me? But I'll help and support in any way I can. I don't have a reason to, or I to. Okay. So I start brainstorming ideas with him, and naive me thinks he's over his stupidity where it comes to me. And I give him my phone number so we can brainstorm outside a game. Oh, shit. Oh, shit. First thing he says is, cool, now I can send you nude photos. I laugh, thinking in a joke, and say, yeah, feel free to send what you want, meaning I have unlimited text and can get photos and whatnot. Within 5 minutes, he had sent me a full nude mirror shot and 2 photos of his dick. All photos completely non-flattering, but totally unwanted. All I could think is, okay, you walked right into that one being an idiot, and I sure hope he doesn't expect anything in return because that's not happening. So I completely continued on with our conversation, not once referencing or commenting on the photos. Totally weird and awkward. And as the discussion about us recording stuff together kept getting morphed and changed little by little, the girl he was quote-unquote talking with started popping up everywhere we were and in the Mumble server, and I don't really care for the female jealousy drama. So it just kind of made me want less and less to do with anything to do with him. If he has to explain in detail why he's hanging out with me, I don't have time for that. Maybe not even want to play that girl anymore or be anywhere near him. Anyways, there's my random guild drama. Hope some of it was enjoyable. Lots of love, guys, from Velvet Dove. Wow! Like, that's beyond Bob's level of creepy. Damn! I mean, okay, we have some guys in our guild that they joke about that shit. Like, I don't think any single person in the guild is actually serious about that kind of stuff anymore.
Anymore.
Anymore. Like, there's that one time in Kata, but after that was it.
That was different though. Everybody was on the fucking train for that.
Yeah, almost every member of the guild was a part of that. Like not just a few of us, everybody.
It was a drunken week of. We were all fucking blazed drunk. Well, I guess blazed would be high, wouldn't it?
Yeah, sloppy drunk.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
For a week solid. Like,
I think a lot of us were on vacation, and it was in the middle of summer. And well, it wasn't. It was like the end of summer, I think.
yeah.
It was just like perfect storm kind of shit.
But like that stuff happened to us, and like it was fine because we were all cool with it and stuff. But the more and more I hear about stuff like that, it like upsets me that I was a part of it whatsoever.
It's like watching porn. Like after you finish, you're just like ashamed of what you watched.
Why did I just watch that guy fuck a horse?
Ugh. As you're wiping yourself up. That's kind of like that's what I get out of it.
Yeah, that's pretty shitty that you can't. And I see it a lot, not in our guild at all, but I mean that's not to say that it doesn't happen because I'm not on 24/7, but I see it a lot in other guilds or in like random chat or pug raids and shit like that. If people find out there's a chick, it's the first thing they ask for, whether they're joking or not. It's the first thing brought up.
Yeah,
It's a little bit annoying. Like I don't know. I'm pretty far past asking any chicks for anything. Like I just want to play the game.
like if I were to ask a chick or anybody for nudes or something, like it would be a long way down the road. Like after meeting in real life, probably. I gone are the days where I'm so desperate that I'll hit up any girl in World of Warcraft and ask for nudes.
Yeah, that was like last week.
Well, this is like 4 days ago. But I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me getting older, but
Yeah,
I don't find any enjoyment in that anymore. Like I like to see pictures of people, not necessarily nudes, but just pictures of people so when I talk to them I can kind of like visualize who I'm talking to.
yeah, you have a picture to associate the voice with.
Exactly. But beyond that, like I would much rather have a really good conversation than boob pics.
Hmm.
Again, maybe it's just me getting older, but
Yeah, and I still get them from time to time, and I usually just forward them all to D.
yeah.
So, like, if you don't want that shit leaked out, then I probably wouldn't send it to me anymore.
It's a general rule that basically any picture that any officer in our guild gets, we all get it.
Yeah,
So even if Lowell gets a dick pic, we all get it.
truth.
Which we've had one drawn dick. That's it.
Which is pretty sweet.
It was pretty sweet dick. But I don't know, man. It goes along with the whole online dating thing, and that's just something that I don't like. I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah. Although, like, WoW is and has been a good place for multiple people to find their significant others, and I know people who've gotten married or have met and are dating
Yeah.
that met in WoW, or they have best friends that are in WoW, i.e. you and I.
Exactly. And
But-
that's cool. Like I think it's just like a personal thing for me. Just like with how my marriage ended and stuff, cuz full disclosure, that's basically what happened in my marriage. Was my wife was getting more attention online from all these dudes, and it started grating on me. Like I can't stand the sound of people typing, because like she'd be sitting next to me typing, like sexting all these dudes and stuff. And eventually it didn't bother me until she like started meeting up with these guys and fucking them all. That's when it really started bothering me. But legit, that's what happened. That's what happened in my marriage, and I think I just have kind of a phobia of it.
Well, I mean, that's also different. Like whenever you and your significant other are playing together, and other people are after her or other people are after you, and it puts a strain on it, because even though maybe you're not the jealous type or whatever, this person's time is being taken up by this other anonymous person.
Yeah. And I mean, I get the high that you get from it. You know, like if you're getting attention from the opposite sex, whether you're a man or a woman, it's a thrill. I'll admit that. It's just like if you're in a relationship, you gotta keep it at arm's length, and that totally didn't happen. It was like inverted length, legit, like the size of a penis or two, inverted. Yeah,
Interesting.
I didn't know how to visualize, you know, the penetration and the negative length. I don't know.
I think that got lost in translation.
Yeah, a little bit. But thanks for the email. I love emails.
Definitely.
We need more emails, always. WoWuncensoredshow@gmail.com. If you feel like it. If you don't, big fucking deal. Do the show anyway. But we like hearing from people, because y'all are pretty cool fucking people. So,
Reels.
yeah. World of Warcraft. So that's a game, right?
That it is.
We play it occasionally. We haven't
Played a lot.
we haven't even talked about Blackrock Foundry. Like, we haven't been on the air since we did Foundry.
Nope.
We should talk about our experiences in Blackrock Foundry.
Well, we made the same mistake that we made the first time we raided the first tier, which was try to clear heroic first.
Oh yeah, because we thought we were fucking boss.
Yeah, which I'm sure people did, but a lot of people were clearing normal and getting their tier,
which
and
we still haven't done.
Yeah, which we really could use, because downgrading like to the tier pieces is huge.
It is. It's kind of a big deal.
Like my 2 and 4 set bonus are ridiculous DPS upgrades. Just the bonus itself.
Mine aren't bad. They're certainly handy. The problem with the Prot Warrior tier is it's all random. Because the 2-piece is every time you use Shield Slam, you have a chance to proc a free you proc Shield Block, and it automatically casts Shield Block. But there's no way to like time it, so it's kind of weird. But it is a DPS increase if you spec right. So I mean, that's kind of nice. And the 4-piece is, I believe, 5% extra block chance when it's up, which is also really good. But the problem is, it's really random, so you can't really time it. But it doesn't take away your shield block charges, so I can still use it when I need it. But it would be nice if I knew it was coming, so I can line shit up with it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Yeah. But I have to say that, well, first, full disclosure, we went 9 to 10 normal, and we went 6 to 10 heroic, I think.
7?
I can't remember if it's 6 or 7. Because we did Grohl or Gorger.
Oh yeah, it's 6.
We did like 2 bosses out of every wing.
Yeah, we still have Chromog, Blast Furnace, Maidens, and Blackhand.
Yeah. So we went 6 to 7. I really like the fights, for the most part. There's a couple of them I'm not a big fan of. But I'm really liking the fights in this raid. They are fun, for the most part.
I don't know of any of them really that I don't like. Like Pac-Man is fun. As much time as it took us to figure shit out, even though I really wish it didn't. The Pac-Man fight is really fun.
Yeah, it really is.
Which is
Orgorger,
by the way, for anybody who's not clear.
We go through boss by boss, you know, kind of give some impressions of everybody.
Do that.
Well, let's start with Grohl. Grohl's a nice intro boss, I thought.
I agree.
Not a
It's
ton
just-
of mechanics.
No, it's almost identical to PC Grohl.
Well,
Not quite, but
the Inferno Slice thing isn't from.
I said almost, you son of a bitch.
Okay, okay. Yeah, I agree. Concur. Whatever.
It's a good boss though. You have to follow mechanics, and some of the things, if you don't do them right, will completely destroy you, even in normal, which we figured out.
I
But,
like that it's I like tank intensive fights where there's
That
a
one
lot of
definitely
shit
is.
where there's a lot of shit that tanks have to do. I like
Yeah,
it.
try
because-
pugging that one with people who have never seen it and having to be the one to explain it, and you're not the tank.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's confusing.
I-
Okay, you start at X, then the tank at triangle taunts, you move over to circle, the tank at triangle moves back to X, and then, man, it's just fucking confusing.
Yeah. There's your tanks need to be on point for that fight. And I love it. I love having that responsibility. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun fight.
I like it.
Everything in there is really healing intensive, though, I feel.
All the fights, yeah. Like, we're running extra healers, not because we have a choice, because we have a ton of fucking healers, like, for once. First world problems and all that.
Yeah, it's the first time we've ever been healer heavy.
Yeah.
So we naturally run heavy now. And it's not bad for like learning fights and shit, but I mean, down the road, we're going to have one of them or two of them swap to a DPS spec or set them for DPS.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to be as forgiving. Like DPS requirements are going to be a lot higher. But Gruul was a fun fight. I mean, it's pretty simple. I think we killed on Heroic first, and then actually that was the only boss we killed on Heroic for a while.
Yeah, I think that first
killed
lockout, that's
Gruul.
the only one we had.
We killed Gruul on Heroic, and then we went to normal.
Yeah.
After trying Orgwarger for almost the whole rest of the night. When
Yeah.
that didn't pan out, I was like, yeah, we're going to go to normal. And because there were like very few strategies or guides out that weren't beta videos. And most of the beta videos, they had added or taken shit out. So you couldn't, like, you kind of had to test it out for yourself. So we just went normal to test out all the mechanics, and it helped out quite a bit.
It really did.
Because when we went back into heroic on that lockout, we killed 5 more bosses.
And it was awesome.
Yeah.
So, Pac-Man. Totally optional. Or Gorger.
Yeah, that boss is super fun, except frustrating at the same time.
He might be my favorite fight in there right now.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Orgorger.
Yep. Well, doesn't LFR come out this week?
Yeah, first wing at LFR comes out tomorrow.
So he should be in there, right?
Yeah, it should be. I'm guessing it's going to be Grohl, Orgorger, and Blast Furnace. I think they're going to do like each wing, each week.
Gotcha.
Which, oh my god, Blast Furnace on fucking LFR. Ugh.
I'm sure it'll be much more forgiving.
I'm sure it will too. But like Orgorger was really good once we got a solid strategy, and once we realized that okay, when he's rolling around, not everybody can run around like a fucking retard.
Yeah.
Like if you keep everybody together and have a certain path, you can like kind of direct where he's gonna go. And then once you get that pathing down, it's actually not that hard.
Yeah. If you're listening to this podcast and you haven't done Orgorger and are working on him, the best way to do it is to tank him on the outside of the room
Yeah, to the
of the
right
encounter.
is where we do it.
And then basically the route that you want him to take, those are the boxes that you got to kill.
Yeah, because he always goes down the aisle that has the most ore.
Yeah. Which for most of the night that we tried it the first time, we didn't know that. We were just killing whatever box we could. We didn't know that it said he prefers to go down lanes that have the ore in them, but we didn't know that it was like guaranteed. Like if one lane's got ore, one lane doesn't, he's going down that lane with ore.
Yeah.
But he will.
And once we got that figured out, like, it really wasn't that hard.
No, most of it after that was honestly like getting all of our interrupts down and healing up through the acid shit and stuff like that. But it is a fun fight. I dig the whole run away, watch his pathing and slams into a wall, go this way and then go that way. It's like complete Pac-Man. I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool.
See, what's the boss after that we killed? Beast Lord.
We killed Beast Lord. I actually think we killed Beast Lord before we killed Ore Gorger.
Yeah, we did.
And Beast Lord's okay. He's certainly not the greatest boss in there. But
he would probably be my least favorite, just mechanic wise. Like there's, as a ranged DPS anyway, you just nuke the ads, nuke him.
There's one boss that I like less than him. And it's just because I don't like ad fights. That's Blast Furnace. I'm not a big fan of Blast.
I don't like Blast Furnace, but I don't hate it. As far as ad fights go, I generally like ad fights, but that being an ad fight, I didn't really enjoy it as much as I did the engineer. What the fuck's his name? Thogar?
Oh.
With the trains?
Oh, dude, fuck. Yes, we'll get there.
That's probably my favorite fight, but yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll totally get there. Yeah, Beast Lord was it was just meh. It was okay, I guess.
Yeah, it's just one of those, you fight him at a certain percent, he mounts up. It's like what was that boss?
Iron Quan?
Yeah.
In Throne of Thunder?
Yeah, where at certain percentages he'll jump on a different mount. That's almost I like the same concept.
Right.
But you can decide which one he picks by what one you're sitting closest to. And each of them does a different ability. And then after you kill all three of them, then he has all of his mount's abilities and shit.
Yeah.
It's just, I don't know. It was a good fight. It was just
not that exciting.
I don't know. It was kind of mind numbing because we had really just seen that towards the end of the last expansion.
Right.
Which I guess, there's only so many fights you can make completely original, but I'm just not a fan of that percentage get on a mount, percentage get on a mount, percentage get on a mount.
It seems kind of boring, honestly.
Yeah, it really is. And if there wasn't so much ridiculous damage going out every now and again, it is totally easy. On normal, we one-shot it, it wasn't hard at all because, the damage is way lower. But on heroic, it was pretty rough.
Yeah.
We found the more people you have, the easier it is. Because we tried to do it. We tried to do it with like 10 or 11 people.
Something like that.
And then it was rough. We barely killed it before all of us died. Right. And then we did it on heroic, and we did it. We had a few attempts on it, but or maybe we one-shot it.
I think we did one-shot it on heroic.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, with our 21 people. So right. It's not bad, but it is a lot of fucking damage to heal through.
Yeah. The next boss we killed was Hans and Franz, I believe.
Dude, I really do enjoy that fight.
I do too. Like, once we figured out how to get around the tank bug thing, it wasn't bad.
Which, in case people don't know, the tank bug, what actually happens? Because I'm still kind of unclear. I know that you get railed.
Well, what happens is they'll pick up one of the tanks, and then they'll smack the other tank with it, like the meme, I'm gonna hit this motherfucker with another motherfucker kind of thing. Yeah, he does that. And it does a flat amount of damage, and it's supposed to be mitigated by armor and like defensive cooldowns and shit. Well, the problem is it's not being mitigated by armor. And the tank that's picked up is pacified. They can't do anything. So in order to survive it, the tank that's on the ground has to pop a big defensive cooldown, and the one that's being gripped has to get an external cooldown, like pain suppression or iron skin or iron bark or whatever, just so both tanks can survive. And even then, a tank might die. So you basically, that fight, you just save all your battle reses for your tanks. Basically.
Well, I know that we had a couple times we would get our our externals off on you guys, and then you would land, and then the melee hit would kill you.
Yeah, because he does like a 220k melee hit like as soon as they're done. So you kind of have to have your defensive cooldown overlap so it hits that too. The timing on it's really restrictive, but apparently it's all getting fixed in 6.1, so...
Yeah, in 6.1, the tanks will not be pacified, so they can use their cooldowns.
Which will be really helpful.
Yeah, it'll make the fight 100 times easier. It is already pretty easy.
It's
like
not bad.
that was really the only thing that was wiping us.
Yeah, the whole moving around from the stampers and shit, it's really not that bad. Like, there's a lot of images online that has a pattern, but you don't even really need it. I didn't need it anyway. It's not terribly hard.
No, it's not hard, and things come down slow enough.
Yeah,
that you can figure it out.
But I do have to say, best voice acting in the entire game. Those two bosses, fucking awesome. I love it. You getty mad?
Yeah, they're pretty good. Nice homage to the SNL Hans and Franz.
Yeah, I love it. It's good. Then after that's Operator Thogar, which is my favorite fight.
Yeah.
Safety dance on fucking crack. Love it. And that fight has ads too, which normally I hate ads, but that fight's okay. I don't mind it. Just because there's so much.
It's a lot of fun.
Just because there's so much other shit going on, and having to dodge all the trains and like keep track of, okay, we need to kill this and then this and interrupt that, and oh hey, yeah, there's the boss too. Make sure you kill him. It's fucking fun.
There's an ad priority, and then there's like the tracks. The doors to the tracks come open, so you have to pay attention to which doors are coming open. Which it's always the same ones, but there's a rotation of like 17 or something. Like it's pretty ridiculous. Like it's hard to remember, but if you have boss mods, it'll tell you what door's opening, or you can just look at the wall and see what door's opening. But you have to not only dodge the trains, you have to prioritize your ads. You have to stay out of shit on the ground and be putting damage on the boss. Yeah. Because once all the trains run, all 4 doors come open and all the trains come out and destroy you. Which we found once.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't say enough good things about that fight. So far, it's probably my favorite fight in this entire expansion. So far, that and Orgorger. 2 best fights.
Yes.
Totally awesome.
What did we do? A Flamebender?
Yeah, we did Flamebender. I would like to do the achievement one of these times.
Yeah, I'm sure we will eventually. I'm not like super impressed with that fight though.
No, it's kind of like Beast Lord. It's meh. The mechanics aren't like eye-popping awesome, and once you figure it out, it's not overly complicated. It's
not complicated. It's just it's not that fun.
No, it's
even the first time we killed it, like it wasn't. I don't know.
We didn't have a nerd rage moment when we killed it. It was just like, okay, that boss is dead. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You start off with 2 bosses. One's a mini boss. If you want the achievement, you get a follower out of it. You keep the lesser health dude alive, and then you get a follower at the end of the encounter once you beat it. But you have her and the little mini boss dude. You kill the mini boss, and meteor gets put on a random person, and it's the standard meteor. It splits the damage with whoever's in it.
Whoop-de-doo.
Yeah, so you gotta split the damage with people, which we just run into melee. Then Cinder Kitty spawn, which is interesting because they link together, and it could create like a fire line. Like if you played Diablo, the fire chains.
Yeah.
That's a thing, and every time you hit it, you get like a stacking fire debuff. I mean, she does AoE shit. She puts shit on the ground. It's just watch out for fire.
The only good part about that fight's the fire puppies. Everything else is just bleh.
Yeah. I mean, it's not terrible by any means. It's just one of my least favorite of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Instance. And then next we have Kolagarn 2.0.
Which, that fight, there is some ridiculous damage on heroic. Jesus Christ, the damage that goes on in that fight.
We actually got stuck on that.
That's where we're at in our heroic progression right now. This
week we got stuck on it. It's just until we can figure out what we're doing wrong. It's just one of those fights where there's so much damage going out and there's not a lot that we're taking necessarily. But
the damage that is going out is pretty big.
There's a stone breath, the tank. Usually what happens is the tanks get rocked and then everybody else gets rocked. But man, it is a fun fight.
It's one of my favorites. I love it. I love Kolagarn type fights though. Like where the boss is just fucking gigantic and you only see half of him. Aside from Deathwing, fuck that guy. But like other bosses like that, like Kill Jaden and fucking Kolagarn and this guy, I like those. It reminds me of what's that fucking game where you have to like run up the Shadow of the Colossus.
Oh, that game's so good.
It is. But it reminds me of that. There's also a lot of bosses like that in Castlevania Lords of Shadow that do like you have to climb up the guy, and I fucking love stuff like that. It's so cool. I don't know. It just makes me feel like we're fighting something truly like monstrous and epic. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, Babe brings up a point, and that's pretty much what I said in the raid. Like when they were trying to, like, if we'd have a tank go down and we blow a battle res on it, then it doesn't really matter because he does an ability that splits damage between the tanks. So if one of the tanks goes down and that ability goes off while we're trying to get the res off, then that other tank's going down. So it's like if one of your tanks go down, you're done. On heroic anyway. Normal maybe not.
Yeah, normal didn't really seem like that big of a deal. Because we killed it on normal pretty easily.
Yeah. Well, I think we one-shot most of them on normal.
Yeah, there was a couple that, like, Iron Maidens, we didn't one-shot. Blast Furnace, we didn't one-shot. But we did kill them on normal. I suppose we could talk about those since we haven't killed those on heroic yet.
Yo.
Blast Furnace. It's got... Bay said earlier in the chat room that... as an ad fight, I like how at least you have to drop the doors and whatnot. Like, there's objectives. That's okay. Like, that part.
Yeah, there's like cool. Phases to the ad fight.
That part's pretty cool. It's just, I don't know, just waves and waves of ads gives me fucking nightmares of Mount Hyjal. So, as a prot warrior, Mount Hyjal was not fun back in the day. Like,
the thing I like about Blast Furnace is the phases are so different from each. Like the first one, you're working on bombing the furnace and getting the furnace open. The second one, the dude comes out of the furnace and you have elementalists keeping him shackled up, and then you got to kill all the elementalists by getting the fucking slag ellies to come explode all over them. And after you kill all those finally and clear up the room, then the boss breaks free of the chains, and then you kill the boss, who starts putting AoE all over the ground that has to be kited. And they're just, all three of the phases are so different that's nice. It's a pretty long fight.
It really is. I don't like it just because it's an ad fight, but then again, as far as ad fights go, it is one of the better ones. Like, yeah. It's better than Hordon. Fuck that fight. It's better. It's better than like all of Mount Hyjal. It's better than a lot of what's that fucking bitch in Ice Crown? The second boss. I wasn't a fan of that one either. The one, Full House chick.
Was it Death Chill or something?
Yeah, I'm in there all the time. You'd think I'd know these fucking names, and I don't.
I don't think I've been in there since.
I was in there to get Shadowmourn, and then after that, I've just been in there to do like Cannonball Run and stuff. I don't pay attention. I don't have enough time to pay attention to names during that.
Like Lady Death Whisper,
That's
Death
it.
Chill, or
Yeah,
something
Lady
like that.
Death Whisper. That's it. I wasn't a fan of that either. Or like Gunship, or Gunship's kind of unique, I guess, but still a fucking ad fight.
Loot Ship.
Yeah. But I mean, the fact that it has objectives and that the phases are completely different, even though for the tanks they're really not, because we're doing the same thing the entire fucking fight. But I imagine
generally speaking, everybody kind of does the same thing. Healers heal, DPS.
Well, yeah, but at least you're DPSing like different things.
Yeah, that's true.
Let's see who's Iron Maidens. I don't know how I feel about Iron Maidens. Like, I want to like it, but I don't know. It's not.
I want to like it, but I feel like we did it on normal, and I feel like we zerged it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel like we mastered the mechanics the way that we should have to get ready for heroic. 'Cause that's the whole reason we're doing normal, besides trying to get our tier, is to learn it and to get the mechanics down well enough to be able to not fail on those mechanics when we get to heroic. Because a lot of those mechanics that you can ignore on normal, you can't ignore them on heroic.
Right.
Like Gruul, the Inferno Slice, it won't completely rail you out. In heroic, it will.
Yeah, totally. I think one of the things that I couldn't put my finger on it, like why it grated on me. And then I was watching Preach. I was watching one of his videos on YouTube. I think it was like his weekly show, basically. And he was saying that it's because one of the reasons a lot of people don't like to fight is because the boss has such high health, and they don't need that high health, but the only reason they have it is so you can go through all these different phases of the fight. I kind of agree with that. Like, it seems that those...
Even so, we always skipped the last phase.
True, but I mean, again, it was on normal. On heroic, they're going to have even more health, and we're not going to be able to skip it.
Right.
But they do seem to have a lot of health. Like a ton.
Yeah, they do.
A lot of bosses do. Like Twin Ogron had a ton of health. Don't know if they necessarily needed it, but they had a bunch.
Yeah, they did.
I do like dodging all the bombs coming from the ship, though. That's kind of fun.
I like the encounter because there's a lot going on, and I'm in the group that takes the chain to go to the boat, so I'm constantly doing something different.
Yeah, like, I think there's one time where I have to go over because I tank 2 of the bosses. So, when the one that actually has an aggro table goes over, then I go over. But when the one that doesn't necessarily have an aggro table goes over, I just stay back. So I see a lot of that bombing phase, which is, I mean, it's really easy to figure out. Super easy to figure out. Once you figure it out, it's not bad. But just like the first time it happened, just seeing all these fucking red circles on the ground, basically covering everything, like, oh shit! And like freaking out for a second, and then realizing that there's a pattern to it, and oh, okay, that's not so bad. But the first time was pretty cool. I'll admit it. It was pretty cool.
But I enjoyed it. It definitely seems pretty unique to me. So there's a fuckload of stuff going on.
Oh yeah, there's a ton of stuff.
So it's definitely a good fight to go in and practice up a little bit on normal to do on heroic, because I have a feeling it's going to be pretty fucking rough.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least is Blackhand, which we didn't get it. We haven't killed him yet. Even on normal, we didn't kill him.
I think you put, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 attempts in on him on normal.
We did get to the last phase though.
Yeah.
I have to say though that fight, I don't know if it actually is, but it feels really epic. Like, not quite Thunder King epic, but pretty cool. Like just how the fight is, where you have to go to the different levels and do all this shit, and you have to kill a fucking tank, and I don't know, it feels cool to me. I like it.
Yeah, I like it. The shitty thing though is whenever we were attempting it all night, that's when my internet started acting up, so I wasn't able to really help with the encounter too much. Like, I was just kind of there.
Yeah.
Which always sucks.
just mostly it's not so much the mechanics of the fight that I like a lot. I mean, the mechanics aren't bad. But it's like the atmosphere and like the little RP events and like when he phases, he busts you through the floor. That feels really cool. Like there's a lot to be said about atmosphere of a fight.
Yeah.
I personally think that it's just as much, if not more important than the fight itself.
It's really cool. Well, especially remember when we were going up the elevator and you could see all 3 phases of the fight by going up the elevator.
Yeah, the layout of this
cool.
place is fucking cool.
I really liked High Mall, like while we were doing High Mall, but then once I stepped into Foundry, I like don't want to go into High Mall anymore. Like Foundry to me blows High Mall completely away.
It really does. It's one of the better raids that they've done. Which is, I mean, that's saying a lot considering some of the raids we've had.
Yeah. Of course, I mean, give us a couple weeks because it might just be that flavor of the month type deal.
That's true.
But
I mean, it could just be, oh my god, this is new and fucking exciting kind of thing.
Yeah. But there have been places and definitely have been raid tiers where I've went in and just immediately not liked. Like Heart of Fear, I never really liked Heart of Fear.
Yeah, I mean, it was designed and it was built up if you did all the quests in what's that place called?
Dreadwaste,
yeah. Like it's built up to be like this gigantic fucking amazing place, and then you get in there and I mean it's cool, but it's not like fucking ICC cool, or it's not Black Temple cool or Ulduar cool.
Yeah, it definitely didn't live up to what I thought it was going to be, considering how much I love the Claxi lore and all of Dreadwaste, but it's just like that. Like, I know that it's a raid that I'm going to like for a while. Like, even when Siege came out, like Siege was, our Dragon Soul of Kata, but Siege wasn't. Because Siege was actually a decent raid.
Siege was a decent raid. And I do like those raids that take us to different places. I mean, that's pretty cool. That's one thing I can say about Dragon Soul is we went to a lot of different places in Dragon Soul, which that was like the only almost halfway decent part about Dragon Soul was, hey, we're at fucking Wormrest Temple. We've been here before. But other than that, like, yeah, Dragon Soul is a piece of shit. Now, Siege, same thing. We're going to a lot of different places. And that was pretty cool. I did like that.
It was pretty cool. The only gripe I really had about Siege was the distance between everything.
Yeah, that was kind of a pain in the ass. But for the most part, I liked it. And I mean, everybody's going to have their opinions and gripes about certain aspects of the place, which I didn't love the whole place, but for the most part, it was a pretty good raid. From Gorgron, or from, was it not Gorgron? What the? Galacras? Is that his name? The dragon?
Yeah.
From Galacras to, like, General Nazgrim. That's, like, my favorite part. Because we're in familiar territory. You know, it's like home field advantage, kind of.
Right.
It's just, like, seeing all this shit that we see all the time and maybe take for granted, but we're fucking fighting a war there. That, to me, is awesome. And I think that's why, like, anytime I try to envision a new expansion or try to plot a new expansion in my head, which, you know, since I have a lot of downtime at work, I do quite a bit. I always go back to, like, revisiting old zones and old places because I want it to feel familiar, but we're doing something completely different. Like, the whole Battle for the Barrens thing, I didn't do it a lot, but I love the idea. Like, we're going back to a place we already know to fuck some shit up. I love that. If we ever got a fucking raid that goes back to, like, Scarlet Monastery or something, oh man, it'd be so cool. Or, like, remember the old Battle for Undercity quests in Lich King?
Yeah.
Oh, dude. Oh my god. I have such a raging boner for that. I wish they would have never taken it out.
Yeah, that was one of my favorite times in the game for sure.
Definitely. But, like, even as much as I rag on Naxxramas 2.0, I love the fact that it's fucking Naxxramas. It's something we've been in before. I love the
Mhm.
aesthetic of Naxxramas. I love the lore behind Naxxramas. It's just the raid when it was redone was like totally underwhelming. But other than that, I
Yeah.
mean, the place is fucking awesome. I love it. I don't remember what we're talking about. Oh yeah, aesthetic for Blackhand. Blackhand's got a lot of shit going on.
Oh fuck yeah, he does.
So much. I do like that new mechanic that he has, where you get that little arrow that's pointing at somebody. I like that. I mean, I know it's something little, but it seems to do a lot for me. Just that.
Where he shows the direction he's gonna throw his knives or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Instead of just him facing that way, there's a fucking arrow coming off the boss, telling you exactly where he's going to shoot it. And the mechanic is
cool.
You have to shoot it into these. Well, I think first phase is like the debris piles or whatever, and then the second phase you have to shoot it at this fucking tank that's driving around, which is awesome. And
yeah, you have to run behind the siege engine to break the armor off, and then you got to kill the siege engine.
So cool, such a badass mechanic. I love it. I'm really interested to when one of these world first guilds kills Blackhand, which I don't think there actually is a mythic Blackhand kill yet. I want to see what like the extra phase is for Blackhand. Yeah, nobody's killed Blackhand on mythic yet. Method and Paragon are the only ones there working on it. But
it's pretty cool.
But like even in Highmaul, when we had Imperator Margok, the final phase in mythic of him is you have to kill fucking Cho'Gall. That's badass. I love the extra shit they're putting into Mythic. I just wish we could go see it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I desire not just because I want to be like the best on the server or whatever. I just want to see these like extra mechanics.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that they're bringing this kind of shit back, like giving incentive to higher difficulty so that you have something to strive toward. It reminds me of the whole Ragnaros legs thing back in Firelands. Like, you want to do it on heroic so you could do that final phase of fucking Ragnaros. I love that shit. It makes me feel like it's fucking Burning Crusade again, where I'm seeing people running around in Ogremar in tier 6, and I'm like, oh my god, I want that.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching these videos of these mythic fights is fucking cool. I love it so much.
I would say overall, though, the raid is really good. There are a couple of fights that I'm just like, let's get this over with. But for the most part, I'm really digging it.
The fights that we don't like are in such a minority that it's not taking away anything from the raid.
At least they're the fights that we've already cleared.
Yeah.
So we like can just bust it out and be done with it.
Yeah. I'm pretty so far. I mean, we're what 3 weeks in. I'm pretty happy with this raid here. Just overall, like Highmaul's not bad. We'll probably not go back into it for a while, except to do achievements and shit, or maybe try to do mythic at some point. But like, I'm okay with that. Like, Highmaul had its time. Highmaul was a decent raid. There are some fights in there that are really cool. Like, I really love fucking Mythic Kargath. I love that fight. So cool. But now that we have Blackrock Foundry, we can just focus on Foundry, and I'll be happy with it. The only thing I'm worried about is how long are we going to be stuck in Foundry?
Right.
Because we haven't heard anything about the next tier. We don't even know if we're going to have 2 or 3 tiers in this expansion or not. That worries me. And I seem to be the only person worried about it. Because if we get 3 raid tiers in this expansion, then, like, to me anyway, it seems like the second tier is just going to be something that they throw in. And it's not going to have all the lore and shit developed behind it that I personally enjoy. But we know we're going to have at least 2 because we have the first and then we have the Grom Hellscream raid.
It was kind of like Throne of Thunder was to me. Like, I felt like it didn't really fit in.
It did feel... It didn't feel as tacked on because... I mean, there was a lot of Mogu lore throughout Pandaria. It was hard to pay
There
attention
was,
to,
but it was just
because
weird. Yeah, because it was Gary.
It
and
was
then,
so different from like the storyline of the expansion. But I mean, if you think about it, we've had raids like that in every expansion. You look at well, not so much Cataclysm, because we had all the build up with Ragnaros in Mount Hyjal. So that one wasn't as bad, really. I guess kind of actually, Blackwing Descent was kind of that why kind of thing. I mean, yeah, it had to do with Nefarian, who's the son of Deathwing. I get that, but we didn't hear about Nefarian at all in this expansion, really, during that leveling experience. We didn't hear about it, and
Right.
it was like really out of the way and not tied in with any of the quest lines that I can remember. Anyway, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but we had more lore and build up for Neptulon and the Throne of the Tide stuff, and we never got the Abyssal Maw raid. So there's that. But I mean, you look at Wrath of the Lich King, and Ulduar was that throwaway. Like, we didn't know anything about Yogg-Saron. We had some Titan build up. I guess we actually had a lot of Titan build up, so never mind. I keep forgetting about Storm Peaks. I don't know why. But it wasn't Lich King centered, so it felt kind of out there.
Mhm.
Especially if you didn't do any Storm Peak stuff. And then oh my god, why am I fucking blanking out on the Burning Crusade? But we had Zulaman, which was like kind of way out there. It was cool as fuck, but it was like didn't. But then again, like Burning Crusade didn't really have that tight story like we've had since. It was more loose, kind of like Vanilla was. We knew about
Yeah.
Illidan, and that was really it.
Well, a decent amount of them, like you were saying, there's just like not a lot of setup for it, and there's just you don't get built up for it, so you don't get as excited about it.
Yeah, which is why I'm really scared about if we do end up with 3 raid tiers in this expansion, what's the second tier going to be? There's no build up. There's no, like, I guess it could be like an Arakoa raid, which I don't know how much I dig that. I mean, it could be really cool. But
Yeah, it'd be like the Klaxi version of, or the Klaxi equivalent,
Yeah.
rather.
it could be those fucking Panther guys. That would be badass. Okay, so Saberons, that's what they're called. So imagine, I don't know why this is making me giggle, but imagine a Saberon raid, right? And it's like Worgen versus Saberon. Cats and dogs. I don't know why that's funny to me, but that would be funny.
I don't either.
Cats and dogs, come on! Cats and dogs. Cats and dogs living together, mass hysteria.
So
That'd be funny. But I can't think of anything that, like, would even warrant a second, like, not a Grom Hellstream raid.
yeah,
There's not enough lore built up in Draenor for that.
I can't either, but I also didn't see a Throne of Thunder either.
That's true.
Especially with like how shadowed all of that stuff was by everything else that we were doing.
Yeah. I guess we could have, like, a Burning Legion raid, which, I'm fucking down. Yes, let's go.
Well, you could look at any of the factions that we get invaded against.
Oh, yeah, like the Shadow Council and the Gorin and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like theoretically, there could be any of those could be one.
What about, like, a Shatrath raid? I don't know what or why, but a Shatrath raid just sounds cool to me.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that just because there's already an assault on Shatrath.
True, yeah.
Because I mean, I'm sure it would be super fucking easy for them to do
I wish there was
because everything's already there. But
more stuff to do in Shatrath besides an Apexis daily.
yeah, me too.
I fucking love that place, man. Like, I always have. I don't know how long I had my Hearthstone set to fucking Shatrath. Forever. Like, even after Burning Crusade was over, I still fucking Hearth to Shatrath most of the time. I love it. Love it, love it. I wish they would do more with it. It seems like it's one of those iconic places that even though we are in like an alternate timeline, it'd still be really cool to just have, you know, that familiarity like we have like we have in the Grand and like Oshigun. Like I wish something would happen with that. Or I mean, it's kind of far fetched, but I'd love to see like the Black Temple come back, but I know that's not going to happen. Just some shit like that. Some of those iconic places. I'm still pissed off about the whole you know, I'd say I'm pissed off about it, and I had it in my head, and then as soon as that came out of my mouth, I forgot the fucking name of the place. Grimbatol. I'm still pissed off that Grimbatol was a 5-man. I'm still pissed off that Azul Narub was a 5-man. Those should have been raids, man. They have such a big part of lore that it feels like a slap in the face that they're just 5-mans. Epic 5-mans, all of them. But it just feels like they need a raid. It really does. Oh man, Grimbatol raid. Take my money.
Grimbatol was definitely my favorite dungeon in Shadow.
I love Grimbatol just because of the lore behind it and like the focal point of Warcraft 2. I mean, it's so iconic and so awesome, and I wish they would have done more with it.
The thing that's upsetting to me is the best thing about Kata was the first tier of content.
I know.
The dungeons.
Oh my god. Pre-nerf dungeons.
Yeah.
Oh.
The pre-nerf dungeons and then the 3 raids.
Oh my god.
But the other thing I was going to talk about, which is really frustrating, is like specs. And I don't know if anybody else is having the same problem, but oh man, it's so fucking frustrating. Like, Arcane is the new, well, I guess it always kind of is the king DPS, but everything always stayed so close that like if you played another spec well enough, that it didn't matter. Like you could still perform, but now it's not the case.
Are you thinking about going Arcane?
I'm Arcane right now.
Oh, are you really? The sad day. You haven't
I ran some raids. I pugged some raids and did some LFRs and tested it out. And I actually tested out all 3 specs. I ran butcher groups, an LFR. I ran 2 on each spec.
How far ahead was Arcane?
Arcane was ahead both times of it was ahead of fire. Well, I didn't switch any gear out. So that's another thing that I would have to do. The only thing I did was I just regemmed.
Okay.
So Arcane was ahead of Frost by like 7k, and ahead of Fire one time, and then it was ahead of like Frost and Fire switched back and forth on attempts, but Arcane always pulled ahead by at least 5k.
That's sad.
Mm-hmm.
You haven't had to play Arcane since like Ice Crown.
I haven't played Arcane since. No, I played Arcane up until Ice Crown.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
But I just don't like the spec. I just love the mages. To me, are Fire and Frost.
I never minded Arcane. It's really monotonous. It's kind of like combat rogues. I think combat rogues are monotonous too. I'm not a big fan of combat, but combat pulls so far ahead on like cleave fights that if you're a rogue, especially main spec rogue, you have to go combat at least for a few fights.
Yeah.
Subtlety's still better on single target, but like Bubba ranked number 1 in the fucking world for Operator Thogar. He did like 75k DPS.
On rogues.
On rogues, yeah. He was like 5th overall in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he's combat, and Blade Flurry is fucking ridiculous.
Yep.
So,
but what really pisses me off is just how fucking drastic it is. And like right now, Arcane is so good with everything. Like the AoE is actually really good, depending on the positioning. But Arcane AoE and Cleave is pretty good. Fire AoE is better depending on like targets again and like where they're at. But like spreading all your dots and all that bullshit is better combustion if everything's like stacked up. But still, the arcane keeps up. Like right now we have me, which was fire, and we have another mage who switched to arcane this tier, and he kept up with me within like 4K of a pure AoE fight
Yeah, it's insane.
as arcane, which to me should not fucking happen.
I get it if like each spec has their niche. Like if arcane was like the single target spec, and fire was like the AoE spec, and frost was like the cleave spec, I could live with it.
Right.
But like if you have one spec that can dominate a fight or do adequate in a fight no matter what it is, that seems kind of broken to me.
That doesn't leave any choice, really.
Yeah, it's just like a class balance with tanks. Because right now there are some tanks that do really well, and there's some tanks that suck so bad that you have an extremely hard time downing bosses with certain tank makeups. For example, druids. Druids fucking suck right now as tanks. I've seen very few druid tanks kill heroic bosses, and that's sad. Because druid tanks used to be a fucking plague that was everywhere. Everybody had druid tanks. And now you don't see them. Now I don't play a druid, so it doesn't affect me, but it's sad to see that like if you have a warrior and a paladin, you'll be okay on any fight at all. If you have a warrior or paladin and then have a monk or death knight, you'll be fine. But if you have anything and a druid, you're hurting. Kind of sucks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It does. And again, like back to my bitch rant.
Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to steal your thunder. I love you.
No, you're fine. But it's like every spec prioritizes a different stat. So like I would have to be searching out crafted pieces and like re-rolling my crafted gear to give myself the advantage on stat priority for each of them. So like when I was frost, I was going like multi-strike haste. And then whenever I went to fire, I went crit mastery. And then now that I'm arcane, it's mastery haste.
And since you can't reforge or anything, it makes
It's like the gear that I have that's dropped that doesn't have my priority stat on it. It's like I just fucked myself out of gear basically.
Yeah. It's weird though, because the reason they wanted to give us reforging to begin with was so that any piece of gear you dropped could be beneficial to you, because you could reforge to whatever you needed it to be, mostly to hit and expertise caps. But besides that, if you were a fire mage and you got a piece that didn't have crit on it, you could put crit on it and then it wouldn't be as terrible. Well, now, since we don't have that luxury anymore, we have some very minor enchants on some pieces and re-rolling crafteds. We're going back to having multiple gear sets again. That kind of sucks.
And you go back to actually have a legit best in slot list and other pieces that really aren't going to be an upgrade. Like if I have a piece, and we're to the point where like whenever you go into the first tier of like any expansion, and it's been like this for a little while, at least for casters, is intellect is king.
Right.
At the start. But then once you start getting the intellect, all your secondary stats start getting priority over everything. So like I would stop worrying so much about intellect and focus more on haste or, what have you. And now that that's an issue, it's like my 670 gear that has like mastery on it is better than a piece of crit gear that I get out of Foundry, because it doesn't have mastery on it.
Right.
And it's a full 10 item levels lower.
Well, and it also, not only does it complicate if you're trying to maintain multiple specs for like mages, but if you have multiple people with the same armor type, now you've got different best in slots for those people. which does kind of help loot distribution a little bit. So, like, for example, just because I know this better, me and Toot, okay, since they changed haste for paladins, Toot used to have the same best in slot list that I did, and so we would have to compete over gear, usually me passing to Toot unless it was a shield. But now, since haste is king for him, like, trumps over absolutely anything, even bonus armor, and haste does jack shit for me, now we have different gear we're going for, which helps for drops. But what if something drops that doesn't have haste or mastery, which is what I want? Then kind of sucks. There's no way, like, one of us is going to get stuck with a piece of gear that we may not necessarily want, and with the way our loot council works, you know, we take a piece of gear and, you know, we get docked for it, which is intended, but it kind of sucks that we have to waste that on something we may not necessarily want. Kind of a pain in the ass. Like, I find myself now, like, if it's not in my best in slot, I don't even want it. Like,
That's exactly how I am.
it sucks because we disenchant a lot of gear that could be potentially useful for a lot of people, but it's not best in slot, so they don't necessarily want it. Even people who don't have a built, like, I go and I build my best in slot list with every raid that comes out. But for people who don't have that list set, but just know what their stats are that they need to prioritize, if it doesn't have those stats on it, they don't want it.
Mm-hmm. And they shouldn't want it.
Exactly.
But that sucks because for multiple reasons, like you just mentioned. And then, like, on the opposite end of the spectrum, like myself, who has been floating from Frost and Fire this whole expansion, trying to, because I want to play Fire, and they keep buffing it because of the crit levels and shit like that, and it's just not that competitive single target. I mean, it can be if you get lots of procs. With the tooth piece helps because it makes you able to have 2 Inferno Blasts, which are guaranteed crits. But still, I mean, like, whenever you have the next patch come out and then you have, you know, that flavor of the month spec, and you're forced to switch because it is much better, and why play a spec that you know is going to be lower than the next?
Right. It's sad.
Yeah. So it's a completely different gear priority, and it's like any of the stuff that that I had tried to go for starting in Foundry is now almost useless to me.
Yeah. It's a problem we haven't had to deal with for 2 expansions now. Because, I mean, you say what you want about Kata and Mop, but the specs were relatively close. Like, you could get by with playing what you wanted for the most part. There were some exceptions. But with reforging and all that shit, you could get by with essentially anything that dropped.
Mm-hmm.
This is a problem we haven't had to deal with since Lich King, when we had best in slot lists and all the shit we have now. We're back to that.
Yeah. Which I was hoping, like, you know, the whole spec change and everything changes except for what your rings, neck, and trinkets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was kind of hoping that would apply to, like, even pure damage specs.
That would be nice if it, like,
because you
switched
know.
your...
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was. Yeah, you're probably gonna say the same thing I was.
Well, I was just gonna say that, you know, that when Blizzard tunes these classes and makes their masters and shit like that, they know what their best stat is, because, I mean, fuck, the mastery for fucking arcane is that you do more damage based on the mana that you have, the more mastery that you have.
Isn't that like when you're selecting your spec? Don't they tell you, like, right on that page what your stats, like, you should go for are? Don't they do that now?
Honestly, I haven't looked. Maybe, though. But, I mean, point being is that Blizzard knows what you're, like, they know crit. You need a lot of crit for fire. You need haste for frost. And you need mastery for arcane. It's been like that for a long time. Now, why can't you whenever you respec, why can't like that crit turn into mastery or turn into haste? Like you have that stationary. Of course, I guess that would end up making that stat turn to a main stat, because what if you had something else already on there? Like what would decide which stat gets changed? So I get the confusion there, but
It would be
I don't
nice
know.
if they did something to make
'Cause it doesn't. Whenever you switch from, like, say you switch from prod to fury, it doesn't switch your secondaries, right? It just switches, or does it switch your secondaries?
No, it actually doesn't switch anything. Since it's basically it's a strength to strength, none of our gear gets switched.
So it always switches primaries, like intellect to agility
Right.
to strength, shit
Right.
like that.
And like
Yeah.
with rings and necks, most tanks should be running bonus armor. Bonus armor does jack shit for DPS, so you have
Right.
to switch those out.
And that's what I was hoping whenever I first heard about this, like, itemization for whenever you spec change, that theoretically you can run the same gear for every spec. And I was kind of pumped about that, but it's just, just for primaries.
Yeah. It has a lot of potential, and it helps a lot of people like Holy Pallies who, I mean, they only get plate instead of open intellect plate drops. They can roll on the same shit that every other plate wearer can use, and then they get a benefit out of it. It's good for people like that.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else, it's not really as big of a deal. It really only benefits shaman, druids, paladins, and monks. That's it. Doesn't apply to anybody else, which is great for those classes. I mean, it's something that they desperately needed. But I mean, what about the rest of us?
Yeah.
That's 40% of your player base, and that's only if they spec into, something that uses a different primary stat. What if you have a ret prot pally? They're not going to get any benefit out of it. If you have a elemental resto shaman, they're not really going to get any benefit out of it either.
Yep. And Velvet pretty much says exactly what I'm saying, like and I'll, shorten it, but basically, if you want to progress, if you want to be in like a progression part of the game or progression raid, you have to pick the best spec viable. Like, that's just it. Like, no top end guilds are going to pick a subpar spec just because they enjoy to play it better than they like to play something else. No. Everybody's stacking the highest damage classes or the highest specs, or else you don't go.
It's a lot like Hearthstone. Like, if you play ranked on Hearthstone, you have two options. You can build a deck yourself, make something fun, and enjoy it, and probably not rank that high. Or you can go find a deck on Reddit or one of the billions of Hearthstone websites, build a net deck, as they call it, and then try to rank higher. Those are the only two options. You can't build a fun deck and rank high with it.
So it's either you play casually to have fun,
Or you play to win.
You play to win.
Kind of sad state of affairs for an MMO.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I mean,
I can
it's
understand
awesome
it for something.
for people who loved playing those specs already, but I mean, I'm just the few who I've never really been a big fan of Arcane, but a lot of people are giant fans of any spec that do a ton of damage. Like, I know Andy loves Survival. Survival does a lot of fucking damage. I don't know if that's why he loves it. Like, I'm sure that doesn't hurt the situation. Like, he loves Survival and it does a fuckload of damage. So that's easy for him to love the spec that is already on the top.
Right.
But for me to love two other specs that don't compete with the one spec that I've hated since I was forced to play it in Wrath.
Yeah.
I don't know. But I mean, a lot has changed with Arcane, and I've practiced it. It's nothing like it used to be, but it's just one of those things where I hated it for so long because it was always a one button mash went to win. Like, that's all it was for an entire expansion. And it's not been that way for a long time, but it's just always going to be in my head. It's actually, the rotation's a lot more complicated than Frost is.
Yeah, I haven't played Arcane forever, so I don't even know.
mean, there's a lot more priority, and you have to watch your mana and shit. With Frost is all procs. Fire is pretty much the same way. Arcane is like huge mana management. You have to watch your procs, and if you don't get your procs, there's certain shit you have to do.
Yeah.
So it'll take me a little bit to practice up on it, but I ran some raids outside of the guild, and I did all right there. So we'll see.
The only time I run raids outside of guild is when I want to raid on my rogue, which is most of the time. Because I'm having so much fun on my rogue, but I don't get to play him in the guild, so
I do if I want to practice something, because I don't want to take that spec into the raid and do much worse than what I was doing originally.
Well, I mean, like, my situation is a little different because I'm a completely different role for the guild than I would be on a rogue. Like, unless we find some bomb ass fucking tank and Toot doesn't want a DPS, which I know he kind of does. That would be the only chance I would get to bring a road to a main raid. Which, like, it doesn't bother me. It's an alt. I don't care that much. But, I mean, I'm having a lot more fun on the rogue than I am on the warrior. I still love tanking, and I love prot, and it's, like, it'll always be my main character, main spec. But, like, I don't know. The rogue's just super fun. Like, it's a character I can actually DPS with. Which, I'm a warrior. I can't DPS worth a fucking shit. Maybe it's because I don't like warrior DPS that much. But I don't know. Anyway, I'm kind of running out of time.
Yeah.
We should do a 3-week-old FMK.
Do it.
Okay. Let's do this.
Okay, here's a shot out of a cannon. Oprah, Barbara Walters, your wife. You gotta fuck one, marry one, kill one. Go!
All right. Today's FMK comes to us from Ghost Freak on the forums. This is FMK 80s Mamas edition. Are you ready?
I've never been more ready in my life.
All right. We have Claire Huxtable, Peggy Bundy, and Mrs. Garrett from Facts of Life. Because nobody knows what that bitch's name is.
Yeah, I'll kill her then, because I actually don't know who that is.
I do know who she is, and I don't like her, so she's dead.
Easy enough.
Yeah. Peggy Bundy and Claire Huxtable, though. I know who both them MILFs are. I haven't seen a recent picture of... I don't know her real name. I'm going to call her Claire Huxtable. But Peggy Bundy was still pretty hot in Sons of Anarchy.
She's okay, I
For
guess.
like a 60-year-old lady, she's pretty hot.
Yeah, I suppose.
I mean, she's pretty old now.
That she is.
But, like, would I want to marry Leela? I don't know. I'm torn. At least we're not killing either one of them, though. So that makes me happy.
Yeah, definitely killing the Facts of Life chick because, I mean, standards.
But you know, if we say we're only going to fuck Claire Huxtable, we'll probably get called racist. So, on that note, I'm going to marry Peggy Bundy.
I know, I was going to say the same thing.
I mean, Bill Cosby just beat the shit out of her. Behind the scenes. It had to have happened.
Why did that have to happen?
It just seems like, the wholesome man, like all goody two shoes up front. There's some shit going down behind the scenes. There's something like he's running an illegal drug ring or something. I don't know.
A prostitution ring.
A prostitution ring out of his doctor's office.
Or he makes his entire cast a part of it.
Maybe he's selling fucking Vicodin prescriptions.
He could be for fucking $25 a pop.
Yeah. I don't know. Felicia Rashad. Thank you, Velvet. Felicia Rashad is Claire Huxtable's real name. I stand by my statement, though. Fuck Claire Huxtable. Marry Peggy Bundy. Kill Mrs. Garrett.
Yeah, I agree. Wasn't maybe I'm way off, but wasn't that Felicia Rashad Wasn't she in a Michael Jackson music video?
Was she?
Or is that some other black lady?
I don't know. Like whose music videos? Michael Jackson.
Thriller? Is she in? Is that the lady that's in Thriller, or is that somebody else?
I think that's somebody else. Okay.
They look pretty similar to me.
Who's the? That's racist. Who's the chick in the Thriller video? We're gonna just Google right now. Ola Ray, the lead girl from Michael Jackson's Thriller video, getting arrested apparently.
Actually, I'm gonna look at a picture of. Please show it. Oh no, this looks nothing like the girl that I thought.
Yeah, I didn't think it was.
No, not even close.
Yeah. Wasn't Bill Cosby fucking everything that moved from Varyar? I'm pretty sure he was. He probably tapped that behind the scenes.
I don't see any young pictures of Felicia Rashad though.
I don't know.
I'll just add young at the end of my search. Okay, it does look like that. Does look like her.
Kind of, yeah. I'm looking at this now. Man, she was hot.
Yeah, like if you look at a
Yeah.
young one, it does look like the girl that's in the Thriller video.
Kind of does, yeah.
Are you looking at the same black and white one with like her hair back?
And she's got her arms up and shit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that looks like the girl from Thriller.
It
I
kind
know
of
it's
does.
not,
It
but
kind of does.
to me, that's what I thought. So I
What's-
wasn't too far off.
No. Let's see. Ola Ray. If you put them side by side, yeah, they don't look that different.
How do you Ola Ray?
Yeah, OLA space RAY.
Oh, exactly how it sounds.
Yeah. Can't tell if that's sarcasm or not.
Yeah, they don't look that different. I mean, the video version of her, like real life, no. But
Apparently, she's in
anyway,
Playboy.
I feel like this conversation has gone on too long.
Yeah, our show kind of went on, but hey, it was a good show. We're done, so we got that going for us, which is nice.
Also, I forgot to mention, but we're making, like, I've had my own TeamSpeak server for a while, so some of the people who listen to the show or that are in the guild have been kind of hanging out in my TeamSpeak, but we're moving over to the RivalCast one now. I canceled my sub, and Varyar he got a sub for one that can fit our whole guild, so we're moving back over there.
Yep, that move is tomorrow, I believe.
Yeah, that's when my thing shuts down.
So, nailed it. We'll be back on the RCM TeamSpeak, which means you can come join us and bullshit. We had to keep this one private because douchebags and cunts and stuff. But
Well, we only bought I only bought enough slots for what we exactly what we needed.
yes, that's the thing. Like now on raid nights, TeamSpeak is fucking full
Mm-hmm.
every night. So, but that will no longer be an issue. Yay! You come hang out and listen to us, fuck around during farm nights, which is actually the best time to hang out in TeamSpeak. Honestly,
Yes.
farm nights are the shit.
Or off nights, I've been playing Diablo this whole time.
Yeah, we actually Bubba, who can't talk but he's still playing, and Bay and I just unlocked hard mode for our Terraria game right before the show, and I've actually had the game up and running, and that's what they've been doing this whole fucking time. I think
More than likely.
there's that. But we're gonna get out of here. Oh yeah, podcast tournament nominations going on right now. Just if you like us, maybe nominate at least Val,
Why me?
because I love you. I want to see Bubba go to the Final Four again.
I don't deserve.
I want to see Bubba win the whole thing.
I'm not royalty.
Dude, I haven't even made it past the second round of my own fucking tournament, so whatever. But you guys should definitely participate this year. I have cool prizes that given away, and we're donating.
That he
by some
wants
people.
to give to himself.
Just ignore the white stuff on all the prizes to send out. That's just that's decoration. Don't lick it or lick it if that's your thing. I don't. Anyway, we'll tentatively be back next week. We'll see.
Yeah.
Like the thing about this show is everything's fucking last minute. We don't know anything until show's about to go on. So
Yeah.
apologies if you anticipate a show and it doesn't happen. That's just it's not like how we work.
The likeliness of that though is
The last couple weeks have been
pretty low.
anomalies. Like that doesn't normally happen. We may miss a show here and there every once in a while, but oh, speaking of which, I forgot to mention to you. Like in a month, we do our 100th episode.
Oh wow.
I didn't even realize it until I posted the last episode. I was like, holy shit, this is like episode 94. We're almost fucking there.
We're like way behind, but we are almost there.
We like are almost legit now. You'll see.
Almost.
I posted. Yeah, this is episode 94.
Sweet.
According to this, so we should totally do something.
Yeah, we said we were gonna do something for 25, then 50, then 75, and
Yeah, don't get your hopes up.
nothing will probably happen. But we'll think about doing something.
If we do anything, it'll probably be another song. Honestly, that's like our thing. If we do something.
Truth. Now that I can play all the music.
Hey, I learned a song on guitar. I bought a guitar. Did I tell you that?
You did.
And I learned a song. I can't play it very well, but I know the chords. And you can almost recognize it if I play it.
You have to play for it. You have to play it over TeamSpeak or something for me.
I can do it like right now?
No, like after the show, like that we were supposed to end like 10 minutes ago.
Oh, fine. Okay. So, I guess that's Val subtly telling me, shut the fuck up and turn the recording off. So I'm going to. Follow us on Twitter if you want. If you don't, whatever. We don't care. At WoW Uncensored Show, at Valentine KBS, at Kalemsai, at Bubba Caleb Rogue. Anyway, we'll see you guys next week. Have a good daytime.
Later.
Bye.
Motherfucker, see ya!